Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see a few more people are just joining, so I'll wait a couple of moments before we begin. Okay, great. Hello, everyone. I can see we now have a few people that have joined us, so we will make a start. My name is Catherine, and I'll be hosting tonight's COLPAI project construction webinar. On the panel this evening, we have members from the team from City of London and ISG, who will be giving an update on the progress of works on site. We are keen to allow for as much time as possible for Q&A, and after the presentation, we will open up to questions from the audience. At the bottom right hand of your screen, you should see the Q&A function. Please submit any questions during the session here. If you would like to come up onto the panel to ask your question directly to the team, please indicate this in your message or use the function to raise your hand so I can bring you up. I would like to remind everyone that this session is being recorded and will be available to view on our project website afterwards. We will begin by introducing the team on the panel tonight, and we will start going around the team. So if we could start with John, please, that would be great.
Hi everyone, I'm John McLeod, Project Director for ISG.
Thanks, John. Steve?
Hello everyone, Steve McCarthy, I'm Senior Project Manager for ISG.
Lovely. Paul?
Good evening everyone, I'm Paul Mercer, Assistant Director for Housing and Barbican.
Thank you. Mark?
Hello everyone, my name is Mark Lohman, City Surveyors Department, City of London.
Thank you. Noor?
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Chowdhury. I work in the City Surveyors Department for the City of London Corporation. I'm the client PM for this job.
Thank you. And Dawn?
Good evening. My name's Dawn Harris. I'm the Communications Manager for New Developments and Special Projects team.
Thank you, everyone. Before we go on to the presentation from ISG, we'll firstly start with Noor, who's going to give a quick update about the planning conditions. So over to you.
Thank you, Catherine. So the period for comments on the delivery and service plan. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, my daughter's iPad started making noise. The period for comments on the delivery and service plan have been, the comments have been received. We agreed with the City of London and the London Borough of Islington that no decision will be made prior to yesterday. We will now collate these comments and respond to these. We will formally respond to comments via a submission to the London Borough of Islington and the City of London. Residents will then get another 2 weeks to comment on these. All submissions and response documents will be communicated via ComCom and will be available on the council websites as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Noor. Steve, I'm now just going to share my screen with the presentation. So over to you when it pops up. If you could just confirm.
Okay.
That.
Okay, hopefully everyone can see that. Just a brief update on progress of the works to date. So if you can move the slide on, Catherine. So this is an aerial view taken from our tower crane, and that shows the top of the residential block, level 3. So we're now progressing from level 3 up to level 4. Next slide. This is taken in the school buildings, educational buildings, and it basically shows, it's down the corridor of the school actually, so it shows that our fit out is well underway. We're installing windows, and as you can see, the two views on the right hand side, you can see that the services installation is also well underway. So things are progressing well in the school buildings. Next one. This again shows the windows. Middle picture is an outside shot of the window. So as I said before, we're installing windows to the main school building, and also the shot on my right hand side is of the brickwork, and the brickwork is almost complete, really, probably 2-3 weeks, and we'll have the brick cladding complete to the school building and also to the school hall. Next slide. On my left-hand side, that is a view of the school with our cladding scaffold. You're obviously using the scaffold to construct the brick cladding. There's two odd-looking holes there in the building. They're windows that we've left out for access. We'll be looking to fill those in over the next couple of weeks. The view on my right with the lorry unloading is a view of the school hall, and I think you can see there that the brickwork there, we've almost got to the top of the school hall, so the cladding there is almost complete as well. So things are going quite well. The next slide. This is an internal view of the main school building, and just shows us progressing with the drywall, the plasterboard, and also wiring the electrical installation. So the next phase there will be for us to get the plasterers in and to skim that drywall. So again, it's progressing well. Next slide. Again, a shot showing the electrical mechanical installation, quite advanced, and wiring being undertaken. Next slide. This is difficult to probably difficult for you to work out what this is, but these are actually angled shots of the school lift. So the sort of shot in the centre is a lift guide looking up the shaft, and the shot on the my right hand side is the top of the lift car. Them building the lift car. The lift car is built inside the shaft. The shot on the top left is the top of the lift car, I think. And I think that the shot below that is looking down the lift shaft past the lift car. So not too clear, but basically the lift installation is well underway. I'd expect to have that complete sort of in the next 2 weeks. That's mechanically, but the lift won't be fitted out, won't be working to a lot further on into the new year, just before we're going to hand the school over. Next shot. Again, aerial photos. The one taken from on my right hand side is of the school hall roof, again taken from our tower crane, and that shows the roof finishes going down. So we're hoping to be waterproof completely on the school hall roof within the next week. That then will be left for probably a couple of months, and towards the end of the completion of the hall, we've got a green sedum roof to go on top. On my left-hand side, that's a shot of the waterproofing roof finishes on the main school, just adjacent to Baltic Street West. So that is the external plant area. Got the next shot. This is basically taken through the centre of the site, and this shows the photo on the left-hand side shows our main infrastructure services. So this is a trench that runs down the centre of the site, and it contains our main gas pipe, ducts for our LV electrical cables, water supply for the school and the school hall, and also communications ducts. And the two pipes at the bottom of that, they're actually steel, and they are the pipes that we've put in for provision for district heating. So again, most of the infrastructure services are now in down the centre of the site, with the exception of a section that sits underneath the welfare units we've installed that are on the boundary of the London School of Fashion. That's the last phase of external services that we will be putting in. We hope to commence or put those in about 4 weeks' time. In about a week's time, starting in about a week's time, finishing about 4 weeks' time, once we've removed our welfare cabins, which we're hoping to do the middle of next week. Got the next slide. This slide gives an overview or summary of our monitoring results for dust, noise, and vibration for October, I believe. The next slide. We've detailed our Christmas working hours and emergency arrangements. So we're going to finish work on the 21st of December, and we're coming back on the 4th of January. We will have our usual out-of-hours security coverage, which will be through our logistics provider 3D. They will attend to any alarm activation. We'll also maintain our 24-hour monitored CCTV security cover. And we've also got our 24-hour emergency hotline. If in an event there is an emergency, then the hotline will contact a member of our management team, and we will respond accordingly. Next slide. And that's the end of my presentation. Questions and answers. Over to you, Catherine.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Steve. We've had a couple of questions already come through on the chat. So the first being in regard to the green roof, which you mentioned. The question asks, why are you not using an extensive green roof, as this would be more eco-friendly?
Sorry, what type of green roof?
An extensive green roof.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know what an extensive green roof is, to be honest. We're using, our green roof is a sedum green roof. I've used those before. That's what's been selected as sort of best fitting our needs. We could look into that a bit further. I think we probably need to, as I'm not an expert on green roofs, but we'd certainly be willing to try and come up with a better answer.
Okay, perfect. We can pick that up and put something in the notes as a post-meeting note, Steve.
Okay.
Another question has come up just in regard to working hours. The question asks, will we be working every Saturday moving forward? I know over the past couple of weeks we have been working some weekends, but not others. And just wondered if you had a timeline and plan moving forward for that.
That's a difficult question. We have worked quite a few recent Saturdays recently because we've lost some time due to weather and also being winded off with the crane. I think probably we will be working quite a few Saturdays, but only during our legitimate hours, which are from 9 to 2 o'clock. We're actually permitted to work between those hours.
Okay, perfect. And in our weekly works update, which is issued on a Friday, we will always note whether ISG will be working on a Saturday or not. If you don't receive these updates, please do sign up on our website, and they're issued every Friday, which will give a forecast of the works happening for the following week. Do get in touch if you've not received these, or if you'd like me to add you to the list, and I can do that moving forward. So next question is about water pouring. So why was water pouring off from a high level of the school building onto the pavement next to Hatfield ramp? There were holes cut in the white sheeting, so it looked intentional. This has created a muddy puddle at the bottom of the ramp to Hatfield. Steve, do you know what this is in reference to?
I do, because Sue Pearson contacted me about that via text. What that was we had an unusual amount of water on the roof, and we used a pump to pump the water off of the roof. It was supposed to be pumped down the inside of our scaffold, which I believe it was, but it did flood the ground at the bottom of our scaffold, and that caused the water to come out from underneath the holding, and I believe it took some muddy clay with it and created quite a mess. So I do apologise for that, and I'm sure that won't happen again, because we've improved our methods for disposing of water. We've put in some temporary downpipes now that we can pump through.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And we just had a follow-up about the green roof, which we previously mentioned. The insulation in both the school hall and school adjacent to Hatfield House is getting drenched with rain, and clarification on the extensive green roof, that it provides more diverse plants. So, Steve, is that something that we can look into further and follow up?
Yeah, I mean, I know we've got a green roof and it's a sedum roof. I haven't got great experience of green roofs. I do know there's various different types. So I think if we could collate those questions, and we could give probably some better answers, we could speak to our landscape architects and people who are more knowledgeable than myself.
Okay, perfect. We'll include an update when we circulate the notes around. Thanks, Steve. I know this was raised at the last webinar we had in relation to lights. A number of residents in Basterfield House have had a problem of lights flickering and going out. An electrician has said that this could be due to building works. I don't know if we have any knowledge on that, Steve. That's directly in Basterfield House.
I wouldn't have thought that it's anything to do with builders' works, because all our lighting comes from our own transformer. So we're taking in high voltage power off of the grid, and we transform that down to low voltage power. So we're self-sufficient with regards to power. So we shouldn't be affecting anybody else's electrical supply. I think that issue probably needs to be directed to their network supplier.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps I could bring that up with the estates team and see if they've had any inquiries or have looked into the matter directly. Next question is, have you updated your risk assessment since there was a change to close Beach Street and for the coaches to deliver children to and from the school?
In what respect? I mean, our risk assessments get updated and reviewed on almost a monthly basis. So I think the question would probably need to be more specific to give me a chance of giving a better answer. But just generally, our risk assessments are regularly reviewed and updated on traffic management and on almost every item we carry out.
Okay, I'll put that one down. If you do have any further questions on that point, please do put them in the chat and we can raise those now. Next question is, the diverted path in Golden Lane is still often flooded and has been unusable for pushchairs and wheelchairs. This has been reported many times. Will it ever be rectified?
That's a question really that needs to be directed to Islington Council. I've got no authority to do any work to the carriageway at all, apart from what I do and what I hope the traffic marshals are doing is brushing the water away and getting it drained. But with regards to resurfacing, drainage, etc., I can't touch the highway. So that would need to be perhaps directed to Islington. But we will do our utmost to keep any puddles that do form, to get them brushed away and cleared.
Thanks, Steve. A question has come through just about the weekly works updates, which I mentioned earlier. Why do you only let us know on a Thursday or Friday before the Saturday work? Could we be told sooner? We can definitely look at sending out the updates earlier in the week. I liaise with Steve on site about the works taking place following. So Steve, perhaps we can look to see if we can send that out a little bit earlier than a Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I mean, if you want me to send you an update on the Monday, Tuesday, or by end of play Tuesday for the following week, that's something we could do. I don't know why we chose to do it on a Thursday. I can't remember now, but certainly, look, if we could do an update on a Tuesday evening, do you want me to do that moving forward, Catherine?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we can get information out ahead of time for those in the local community that are seeking it, that would be great. I think we originally went for later in the week just so all the information we sent was accurate and up to date, but moving forward we will look to send those earlier out in the week to everyone. So thank you for that.
Catherine, if I just come in there, there are occasions where we have unplanned sort of events, or we lose crane time, let's say, because we're winded off, and we have to make decisions on a Thursday or a Friday based on how the week's gone. So I think the principle of trying to get you that update earlier in the week we can work with, but it may be subject to late change depending on how the week has gone.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no problem. Thank you. At the last meeting, you said you would update the project program on the COLPAI project website. This has not been done. I can confirm that the key dates timeline has been updated on the website, but perhaps Steve or Noran, you could just run through the overall program on this call as well, just on key milestones that we're heading towards.
Is that for me, Noyan?
I can answer it if you prefer, Steve.
Well, I mean, our completion is due in the second quarter of next year for the school. So I think we're aiming at April. Is what other key milestones would be of interest? I mean, that's a question I suppose I'm throwing back at whoever asked the initial question.
I think it would be good to update just on where we see kind of completion dates.
Well, the school we're targeting April next year, and the Resi block at the moment we're looking at the end of March 2022.
Perfect, thank you. I'll attach a copy of the updated key dates timeline when we send around the notes as well, but that is on the website. So hopefully everyone can see that when they log in. Please.
Sorry, Catherine, can I just add a note that those dates are obviously subject to ongoing restrictions related to social distancing. So those are the dates, assuming that we get back to normality sometime soon. Mm-hmm. We don't know how those dates will be affected going forward. So we'll keep updating if things change. Okay,
that's really useful, thank you. Please do raise your hand if you are interested in coming up onto the panel to ask any questions, and do use the chat function. We've answered all the questions in the chat so far. There's been a couple of notes about electricity again, so we will follow that up and check that one regarding that point. I can see somebody's got their hand up, so I'm just going to bring them up to the panel now to ask their question. Francis, you should be coming up now. Hello, Francis.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, absolutely.
Just in terms of milestones, I guess that sort of leaves a year of construction of the residential block when the school is finished, and probably about a year of kids going to school in the school while there's construction above them and next to them. So I'm just, I believe I asked it at the last meeting, and I never got a follow up on that, a response on that. That is. How is that going to be working? Is there going to be a crane still there? Is there going to be, how is sort of safety going to be ensured? Because you've got a 11-story block with kids going to be walking through, around, underneath, coming and going, playing.
There's going to be a 8-foot holding between the school and the resi block. That is actually drawn out on our logistics plans, which is part of our construction management plan. You probably haven't seen it. It's an awfully big document anyway, but basically there's an 8-foot holding that divides to two.
You say 8 foot deep?
No, sorry, 8 foot high. It's 8 foot high. So it's exactly the same as our timber holding, the red one that we've got around the site at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The crane is due to come down at the moment, sort of mid-May, when we finish the structural works. So all you'll have servicing the construction works on the Resi Tower will be a hoist, a goods passenger hoist.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I guess partially. I mean, is there going to be some sort of information that's going to be distributed through the school once it gets closer to that point? Sort of, highlighting, because I'm sure a lot of parents don't know that there's going to be construction going on while their kids are going to school next door, and B, I guess, like what you're going to be doing to making sure that it's going to be, fail safe, because construction accidents do happen, but obviously they're not always with kids right underneath or next door to them.
Well,
and obviously there's going to be still a lot of deliveries and things going on as well.
They will be next door to a construction site, but because the tower is on Golden Lane and the school at the back, there is quite a bit of distance between the two with regards to the tower. Also, we're going to be using our access off of Golden Lane for the construction works, and the school will be using the entrance on Baltic Street West. So the two entrances will be on opposite sides of the site.
Okay.
But saying that, obviously, I guess some people will say that there'll be some children and parents walking past the site to get to to get to Baltic Street West. But then that's no different to probably any construction site in London, really. You always walk past a construction site in London, don't you? Perhaps not recently, but before all the troubles we had, when there was a lot more of us around, you probably did.
I mean, we already walk by the site every day now.
Yes.
So that's a reality, obviously. There's probably more action and things going on now. But for instance, I didn't know, and there hasn't been any information yet. It seems like you already have information as to how that's going to be organized. So maybe, if you have that information, it's a good point to start informing people about it, because I know that most people don't know that you're still going up about 7-8 stories, and that you're still going to be building.
Well, I think that's a good point. We could probably put something in our next newsletter, couldn't we, Catherine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant point.
So, can I also come in just to add something to this for Francis? Over the last 18 months, we've held regular meetings with parents, and this topic came up quite regularly. So we explained in lots of detail with ISG what exactly would be on the ground when the school takes occupation. That's changed slightly now because the start date has been delayed a little bit. But we did go through this and we allayed all of the fears of the parents.
When did those things happen? Because obviously I'm a parent at this school since September, and I haven't heard anything about any meetings with parents. So the only meetings I've heard of is these meetings.
So they were going on all of last year. I attended all of them. I'm not sure how many took place after September, because clearly I think there was a few, and clearly from the beginning of this year we haven't had any or very many, but certainly all of last year and probably the end of the year before we was having them. We had very regular meetings. So, but we can do what you've asked for. We can provide that information for you.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Francis, have you got any other queries while we've got you on the line?
Not right now, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for coming up and joining us. Next question is just about planning conditions, Nuron. Is there any other planning conditions that we need to submit moving forward?
Not that I'm aware of, but we can put an update on the site of the condition, anything that may come up. I'll ask the planning consultants and get a list together. And we can also put together the conditions that we hope to discharge in a sort of small timeline of when we plan to do that.
Okay, thank you. Just making a note of that. Next question, at what times do you turn the floodlights on the crane on and off, and any other lighting or floodlights on the site? Steve? Well,
it's when they basically go on when when obviously we lose daylight. So that is basically from any time from 3:30 onwards. I mean, if we have a particularly light winter's evening, then they will probably stay off a little bit longer. But if we have a dark, stormy winter's evening, then they would go on earlier. So we've got the ability to override the timer. So I think the timer's set at 4 o'clock and then goes off now. Because what we've done, following the issue we had with leaving the crane lights on, they're now on a timer. So I believe that's set to go off at 6:15.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Steve. Any further questions from those attendees that we've got in the audience this evening? I think at this point it would just be worthwhile mentioning that we are planning to hold our next webinar in January, provisionally looking at Thursday, the 21st of January at 7 p.m. Obviously, with the restrictions in place at the moment, we're perceiving that this will be online. However, we will keep you updated. We're keen to kind of meet everyone face to face again, but obviously with government restrictions and as we're in lockdown at the moment, we've got to continue doing online meetings. But we will keep you updated on timings, how to sign up, and what our plan is moving forward. As Steve mentioned, we are also due to send out our December newsletter in a couple of weeks, where we will include information about the Christmas closing times and the emergency procedures as Steve has run through today. And we'll also pick up on a couple of other points that have been highlighted on this call this evening. I think it'd just be worthwhile saying as well that we would be really grateful for any feedback about how these sessions are run. We're really keen to make them open and accessible for everyone, whether you're joining today by internet or by the phone. So if there is any feedback that we can take on board, please do not hesitate to reach out to us by our email address, and we will consider that moving forward. But we just want to thank you all for taking the time to join us this evening. We've had a couple of other questions through while I've been chatting away. There is still the odd evening where the outside lights are left on. Can this be an extra check? Steve, I know some lighting is left on in the building, so I'm not sure whether that's referring to the building or the crane, but you've got the timer on now, the crane, haven't you? Are you aware of the lighting on site?
The crane floodlights are now do go off. We will check. I will have the our security guard check the lighting tomorrow evening to make sure that all the lighting that can be switched off is switched off. It would be useful as well if whoever's raised the query could give us a pointer as to what lights are being left on or they have got a problem with, and then we could perhaps look at those lights and see what could be done. Mm-hmm. But definitely I'll get our security chap to go around tomorrow and do a thorough check.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. They've just confirmed that it was not in the building, but the floodlights outside. So
was that in the inner courtyard, perhaps, was it?
The external floodlights overlooking the hall.
Overlooking the hall from the school building or from our offices? Look, and at the end of the day, we'll have a thorough check tomorrow and make sure that they do get switched off, because I don't think we need those floodlights on.
Okay, that's great. Yes, perfect. Thank you very much. Another question has come through. Noreen, I know you raised this at the beginning, but just for anybody that missed your introduction, could you explain how the additional submission of the information for the planning conditions will work?
So is this my comments on the delivery and service plan, or just in general?
I think in regards to the delivery and service management plan.
So if I just repeat what I'd said at the start of the meeting, we agreed with Islington and the City of London that no decision would be made prior to the 18th of November, which was yesterday. This gave residents ample time to comment. We've now received those comments, we're collating them, and we will respond to these. We'll formally respond to comments via a submission to Islington and the City of London. At this point, residents will get another 2 weeks to comment. And all documents will be uploaded onto the respective council websites, but we will also communicate the document via ComCom.
Perfect. Thank you, Noreen. Hope that answers your query. Any other questions from the audience this evening? Nope, I can't see any more coming through. If you do have any queries following today's session, as I said, please do reach out and we will look into that with the team and come back to you as soon as possible. I think I will bring the webinar to a close now if there are no more queries, but just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you to those in the audience and on the panel. Our next webinar will be scheduled for Thursday, the 21st of January. Unless there's anything further from the team, I would just like to wish you all a lovely rest of your evening and thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.